The Adventures of Tom Sawyer by Mark Twain is an 1876 novel about a young boy growing up along the Mississippi River. The story is set in the fictional town of St. Petersburg, inspired by Hannibal, Missouri, where Twain lived. Summary: Tom Sawyer lives with his Aunt Polly and his half-brother Sid. Tom dirties his clothes in a fight and is made to whitewash the fence the next day as punishment. He cleverly persuades his friends to trade him small treasures for the privilege of doing his work. He then trades the treasures for Sunday school tickets which one normally receives for memorizing verses, redeeming them for a Bible, much to the surprise and bewilderment of the superintendent, who thought it was simply preposterous that this boy had warehoused 2,000 sheaves of scriptural wisdom on his premises. A dozen would strain his capacity, without a doubt. Tom falls in love with Becky Thatcher, a new girl in town, and persuades her to get engaged by kissing him. But their romance collapses when she learns Tom has been engaged previously to Amy Lawrence. Shortly after Becky shuns him, he accompanies Huckleberry Finn to the graveyard at night, where they witness the murder of Dr. Robinson. Tom, Huck, and Joe Harper run away to an island. While enjoying their newfound freedom, the boys become aware that the community is sounding the river for their bodies. Tom sneaks back home one night to observe the commotion. After a brief moment of remorse at his loved one's suffering, Tom is struck by the idea of appearing at his own funeral. Back in school, Tom gets himself back in Becky's favor after he nobly accepts the blame for a book she has ripped. Soon, Muff Potter's trial begins, in which Tom testifies against Injun Joe. Potter is acquitted, but Injun Joe flees the courtroom through a window. Tom then fears for his life as Injun Joe is at large and can easily find him. Summer arrives, and Tom and Huck go hunting for buried treasure in a haunted house. After venturing upstairs, they hear a noise below. Peering through holes in the floor, they see Injun Joe disguised as a deaf-mute Spaniard. Injun Joe and his companion plan to bury some stolen treasure of their own. From their hiding spot, Tom and Huck wriggle with delight at the prospect of digging it up. Huck begins to shadow Injun Joe nightly, watching for an opportunity to nab the gold. Meanwhile, Tom goes on a picnic to McDougal's cave with Becky and their classmates. In his overconfidence, Tom strays off the marked paths with Becky and they get hopelessly lost. That night, Huck sees Injun Joe and his partner making off with a box. He follows and overhears their plans to attack the widow Douglas. By running to fetch help, Huck prevents the crime and becomes an anonymous hero. As Tom and Becky wander the extensive cave complex for the next few days, Tom one day accidentally encounters Injun Joe, although the boy is not seen by his nemesis. Eventually, he finds a way out, and the two children are joyfully welcomed back by their community. As a preventive measure, Judge Thatcher has McDougal's cave sealed off, but this traps Injun Joe inside. When Tom hears of the sealing several days later and directs a posse to the cave, they find the corpse of Joe just inside the sealed entrance, starved to death. A week later, having deduced from Injun Joe's presence at McDougal's cave that the villain must have hidden the stolen gold inside, Tom takes Huck to the cave and they find the box of gold, the proceeds of which are invested for them. The widow Douglas adopts Huck, and when Huck attempts to escape civilized life, Tom tricks him into thinking that he can join Tom's robber band if he returns to the widow. Reluctantly, Huck agrees and goes back to her. Sequels and other works featuring Tom Sawyer: Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, Tom Sawyer Abroad, Tom Sawyer, Detective, Tom Sawyer, the story's title character, also appears in two other uncompleted sequels, Huck and Tom Among the Indians and Tom Sawyer's Conspiracy. He is also a character in Twain's unfinished Schoolhouse Hill. Adaptations and influences: film and television, Tom Sawyer, directed by William Desmond Taylor, starring Jack Pickford as Tom Sawyer, directed by John Cromwell, starring Jackie Coogan as Tom Sawyer, Soviet Union version directed by Lazar Frenkel and Gleb Zatvornitsky, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, Technicolor film by the Selznick Studio, starring Tommy Kelly as Tom and directed by Norman Taurog. Most notable is the cave sequence designed by William Cameron Menzies, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, BBC television series in 6 episodes starring Fred Smith as Tom and Janina Faye as Becky. The series theme song was John Gilbert is the Boat, sung by Peggy Seeger. Les Adventures Sawyer, French-German made-for-television miniseries directed by Wolfgang Liebeniner, starring Roland D. Munjot as Tom and Mark D. Napoli as Huck, Aventurial Louis Tom Sawyer, Romanian movie directed by Mircea Albulescu. The New Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, a half-hour live-action animated series produced by Hanna-Barbera Productions, Las Aventuras de July Anceto, Mexican film, Tom Sawyer, musical adaptation by Robert B. Sherman and Richard M. Sherman, with Johnny Whitaker in the title role, Jeff East as Huck Finn, Jodie Foster as Becky Thatcher, and Celeste Holm as Aunt Polly. Tom Sawyer, TV movie version sponsored by Dr. Pepper, starring Buddy Ebsen as Muff Potter and filmed in Upper Canada Village, Huckleberry Finn and His Friends, TV series, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, Japanese anime TV series by Nippon Animation, part of the World Masterpiece Theatre, aired in the United States on HBO, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn, 1981 Soviet Union version directed by Stanislav Govorokhin, Tom Sawyer, Canadian Climation version produced by Hal Roach Studios, Tom and Huck, starring Jonathan Taylor Thomas as Tom and Brad Renfro as Huck Finn, Tom Sawyer, animated adaptation. Featuring the characters as anthropomorphic animals with an all-star voice cast, including country singers Retta Kins, Mark Wills, Leanne Womack, Waylon Jennings, and Hank Williams Jr. as well as Betty White. Theatrical, in 1956, We're from Missouri, a musical adaptation of The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, with book, music and lyrics by Tom Boyd, was presented by the students at the Guildhall School of Music and Drama. In 1960, Tom Boyd's musical version was presented professionally at Theatre Royal Stratford East in London, England, and in 1961 toured provincial theatres in England. In 2001, the musical The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, by Ken Ludwig and Don Schlitz, debuted on Broadway. Ballet, Tom Sawyer, a ballet in 3 acts premiered on October 14, 2011 at the Kaufman Center for the Performing Arts in Kansas City, Missouri. The score was by composer Maury Yeston, with choreography by William Whitener, artistic director of the Kansas City Ballet. A review in the New York Times observed, "Unregistered trademark is quite likely that this is the first all-new, entirely American 3-act ballet. It is based on an American literary classic, has an original score by an American composer and was given its premiere by an American choreographer and company. Both the score and the choreography are energetic, robust, warm, deliberately Norvège, in ways right for Twain." Internet, on November 30, 2011, to celebrate Twain Unregistered trademark's 176th birthday, the Google Doodle was a scene from The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. Inspiration, according to an October 2012 article published in Smithsonian Magazine, Twain named his fictional character after a San Francisco fireman whom he met in June 1863. The real Tom Sawyer was a local hero, famous for rescuing 90 passengers after a shipwreck. The two remained friendly during Twain's 3-year stay in San Francisco, often drinking and gambling together. See also, Mark Twain Bibliography, The Story of a Bad Boy, References. External links. The Adventures of Tom Sawyer at Project Gutenberg, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, 135th Anniversary Edition, University of California Press, 2010. The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. Digitized copy of the first American edition from Internet Archive. The Adventures of Tom Sawyer with embedded audio, free audiobook at LibriVox, Twain, Mark, 1835–1910. The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, free ebook in HTML format at the Electronic Text Center, University of Virginia Library. First edition illustrations by True Williams.